First contact shock. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly before Fleet Commander Zirax's viewport. Stars twinkled like distant promises across the cosmic tapestry that was Sector 9, the easternmost territory of the Vosh Empire. For 3 centuries, the Vosh had ruled this region of the galaxy unchallenged, their technological superiority and disciplined military ensuring their dominance over the 12 subjugated species that lived under their protection. Zirax's mandibles clicked thoughtfully as he observed the holographic display hovering before him. Routine patrol. Routine day. The same expanse of stars he'd watched for nearly 2 decades of service. His exoskeleton gleamed under the soft blue light of the command deck, the intricate patterns on his carapace indicating his prestigious rank and numerous accomplishments. "Commander," came the voice of his sensor officer, Technician Vex. "We're detecting an anomaly at the edge of our scanning range." Zirax's antennae twitched forward with interest. Classification: "Unknown, sir. It's not registering properly in our systems." The commander moved closer to the main sensor array, his 6 eyes narrowing as he studied the readings. A small red dot pulsed at the edge of the holographic display, its trajectory and velocity calculations constantly updating and changing. "That can't be right," Zirax muttered. "Run a diagnostic on the sensor array." "Already done, sir," Vex replied, her voice carrying a note of unease that Zirax had never heard from a usually composed officer. "The equipment is functioning perfectly." The red dot suddenly jumped, covering what should have been several hours of travel distance in mere seconds. "Impossible," whispered Tactical Officer Quill from his station. "Nothing moves that fast without jump technology." Zirax's military training kicked in. "Battle stations. Alert the nearest patrol groups. I want all weapons systems online and shields at maximum." The bridge erupted into controlled chaos as officers rushed to their positions. Warning klaxons sounded throughout the massive Vosh dreadnought. The eternal sovereignty. "Sir, the object has changed course," Vex reported, her claws moving rapidly across her control panel. "It's heading directly toward us now." "Time to intercept," Zirax demanded. "At current velocity." Vex paused, rechecking her calculations. 3 minutes, sir." Zirax's exoskeleton seemed to tighten around him. Nothing traveled that fast in regular space. It wasn't just improbable. It was physically impossible according to every known law of physics in the Empire. "Communications. Send an Imperial warning on all frequencies. Unknown vessel. This is Fleet Commander Zirax of the Vosh Empire, Dreadnought Eternal Sovereignty. You are entering restricted space. Identify yourself immediately, or face defensive action." Silence answered them. The red dot continued its approach, unslowed and undeterred. 1 minute to visual range, sir," Vex announced, her voice steady despite the tension filling the bridge. "Put it on screen when possible," Zirax ordered. The massive view screen at the front of the bridge flickered to life. At first, there was nothing but the empty blackness of space. Then, without warning or the typical distortion effects of deceleration, a vessel simply appeared. The bridge fell silent. It was unlike any ship Zirax had ever seen. Where Vosh vessels were angular and imposing, built with visible weapon arrays and intimidating silhouettes, this ship was sleek and smooth. It had no visible propulsion system, no external weapons platforms, and was perhaps a quarter the size of the Eternal Sovereignty. Its hull gleamed with a strange metallic sheen that seemed to absorb and reflect light simultaneously, making it appear almost liquid in nature. "Analysis," Zirax demanded. "Sir, scans can't penetrate the hull," reported Engineering Officer Crass. It's like the scans are being absorbed or redirected. I've never seen anything like this. Life signs. Unknown. We can't get any internal readings." Zirax's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of agitation he rarely displayed. "Open all communication channels again. This is Fleet Commander Zirax of the Vosh Empire. Unknown vessel, identify yourself and state your purpose immediately." Again, silence. Sir, Vex's voice had dropped to a whisper. The vessel has powered down. All energy signatures we could detect have vanished. It's just floating there. Zirax studied the strange ship. Military protocol demanded he treat this as a potential threat, but something deeper, an instinct honed through decades of service, told him this was more than a simple territorial incursion. Sir, we're being hailed by High Command, the communications officer announced. Supreme Admiral Vazik wishes to speak with you immediately. The view screen split, and the imposing figure of Supreme Admiral Vazik appeared. His carapace was old and weathered, scored with the marks of countless battles, and his eyes carried the weight of the Empire's highest military authority. Commander Zirax, report, the Admiral ordered without preamble. Supreme Admiral, we've encountered an unknown vessel with technology beyond our understanding. It demonstrated impossible speed and maneuverability before coming to a complete stop near our position. It's not responding to hails, and our scans cannot penetrate its hull. Vazik's antennae twitched forward, a sign of intense interest. Has it shown any aggressive intent? No, sir. It's completely passive at the moment. Hold your position. I'm dispatching the 9th Fleet to your location. Do not engage unless attacked, but do not let that vessel leave. Is that understood? Yes, Supreme Admiral. The connection terminated, and Zirax turned his attention back to the mysterious ship. Continue attempts to communicate. All frequencies, all known languages. Hours passed with no change. The mysterious vessel remained silent and motionless, as if content to wait indefinitely. Reports came in of the 9th Fleet's approach. 15 warships, the pride of the Vosh Empire, converging on their position. Sir, Tactical Officer Quill broke the tense silence. I've been analyzing what little data we have on the vessel's approach. Its movement patterns defy our understanding of physics. It's as if it doesn't need to accelerate or decelerate. It simply is where it chooses to be. Zirax contemplated this unsettling observation. Opinions on its origin. His officers exchanged glances. It doesn't match any known design from the subjugated species, offered strategic officer mechs, and it's certainly beyond the capabilities of any uncontacted worlds on our expansion list. Could it be from beyond the void barrier? Suggested Vex, referring to the vast empty region at the edge of known space, a natural boundary that had thus far limited the Empire's expansion. Impossible, Kraz said firmly. Nothing could cross the void. The distance is too great, the radiation too intense. Before Zirax could respond, the sensor array erupted with alerts. Commander, the vessel is powering up again, Vex called out. On the view screen, the strange ship began to emit a soft, pulsing glow. Not from engines or weapon ports, but from the hull itself, as if the entire vessel was awakening. Defensive positions, Zirax ordered. Weapons locked but hold fire until my command. The glow intensified, and then suddenly, a beam of light shot forth from the ship, not toward the eternal sovereignty, but into empty space beside it. The beam expanded, forming what appeared to be a swirling vortex of energy. What is it doing? Zirax whispered. As if in answer to his question, the vortex stabilized, and through it emerged another ship, identical to the first. By the first egg, gasped Kraz. It's creating a gateway. No, Zirax replied, his military mind quickly assessing the situation. It's not creating anything. It's communicating. The second vessel must have been waiting somewhere else, and this is how they rendezvous. The two identical ships now floated side by side, their hulls glowing with the same pulsing light. Sir, the 9th Fleet has arrived, announced Communications Officer Trill. The view screen changed to show the magnificent sight of 15 Vosh warships dropping out of hyperspace, their massive forms dwarfing the two mysterious vessels. Supreme Admiral Vazik's voice came through the comms. Commander Zirax, status report. A second identical vessel has appeared, sir. They seem to be communicating with each other, but still no response to our hails. I see them, Vazek replied. We're moving into containment formation. Stand by. The Vosh warships began to arrange themselves in a spherical pattern around the two alien vessels, a standard encirclement tactic designed to prevent escape while maximizing firing coverage. Sir, Vex suddenly called out, we're detecting energy buildup in both vessels. Defensive shields to maximum, Zirax ordered. But instead of attacking, the two ships simply vanished. Where did they go? Demanded Vazek over the comms. Unknown, sir, Vex replied, frantically checking her sensors. They didn't use jump technology. There's no energy signature, no distortion field. They just disappeared. Silence fell over the bridge, heavy with implication. In 3 centuries of dominance, the Vosh Empire had never encountered a technological superior. Their understanding of physics and the universe had been unchallenged, their military might unmatched. Until now. Sir, Vex said quietly, they've reappeared. Behind the fleet. On the view screen, the 2 vessels were now positioned at the rear of the formation, completely bypassing the carefully arranged Vosh warships. How? Zirax demanded. How are they doing this? Before anyone could offer theories, one of the vessels accelerated toward the nearest Vosh warship, stopping mere meters from its hull. The unyielding claw reports no hostile action. Trill announced. The vessel is just sitting there. Then something unprecedented happened. A signal, clear and strong, broadcasting on all frequencies simultaneously. They're communicating, Trill said with surprise. It's a mathematical sequence. Prime numbers. Zirax felt a chill run through his exoskeleton. They're establishing basic communication. They're intelligent. Of course they're intelligent. Vazek's voice came through, tense but controlled. The question is, are they friendly? As if in answer, the signal changed. The mathematical sequence continued, but now interspersed with new patterns, symbols, flowing together in complex arrangements. They're sending language data, Trill realized. Comparative linguistics. They're teaching us how to talk to them. For the first time in his long military career, Zirax felt genuine awe. These beings, whoever they were, hadn't come to fight. They had come to talk, and they were smart enough to build the bridge between languages themselves rather than demanding the Vosh do so. Process that data immediately, Vazek ordered. I want to know who they are and what they want. As the linguistic computers worked, the 2 vessels began to move again, not in the erratic, physics-defying manner of before, but in a slow, deliberate pattern around the Vosh fleet, a dance that seemed almost ceremonial. Sir, Trill's voice was filled with wonder. The translation matrix is complete. They call themselves humans. Part 2. Humanity Unveiled. Supreme Admiral Vazek's command ship, the Imperial Judgment, had become the center of the most significant diplomatic event in Vosh history. The mysterious vessels, now known to belong to a species called humans, had maintained their position near the assembled Vosh fleet for nearly 12 hours while communication protocols were established. Commander Zirax stood rigidly at attention beside Admiral Vazek on the command deck of the Imperial Judgment. His presence had been requested specifically by the Supreme Admiral, an honor that would normally fill Zirax with pride. Today, however, his mind was consumed with the implications of what they were facing. The linguistic analysis is complete, Supreme Admiral, reported Chief Science Officer Lizix, her antennae twitching with excitement despite her formal demeanor. We can now communicate with reasonable accuracy. Vazek's mandibles clicked once, a sign to proceed. Human vessel, Lizix transmitted. This is the Vosh Empire. We acknowledge your communication attempt and are prepared for dialogue. State your purpose in Imperial space. The response came immediately, appearing as text on their screens while being simultaneously translated through audio systems. Greetings, Vosh Empire. We are exploratory vessel Horizon Seeker and research vessel Quantum Pathfinder of the United Earth Federation. We come in peace and friendship, seeking knowledge and diplomatic relations. The bridge fell silent as the implications sank in. Not one but two separate governments had sent these vessels, and they claimed to come in peace. "They're lying," hissed Security Chief Drazik. "No peaceful expedition needs ships with such capabilities. This is a military reconnaissance mission." Vazik held up a claw for silence. "Ask them how they achieved their propulsion technology." Lazix transmitted the question. After a brief pause, the response appeared. "We utilize gravitational folding propulsion, what we call the Einstein-Rosen drive. It creates localized distortions in space-time that allow our vessels to traverse distances without conventional acceleration." The Vosh scientists present exchanged looks of disbelief. "That's theoretically impossible," muttered Lazix. "The energy requirements alone would be." "And yet, we all witnessed it," Zirax reminded her. Vazik's eyes narrowed. "Ask them how they found us." The human's response was simple. "We've been observing the expansion of civilizations in this galactic sector for some time. Your communication networks are detectable across significant distances. They've been spying on us," Drazik growled. "Perhaps," Vazik conceded, "but intercept without detection requires technology far beyond our own. The question is, why reveal themselves now?" Zirax studied the image of the human ships on the view screen. "Permission to ask a direct question, Supreme Admiral." Vazik nodded. "Human vessels," Zirax dictated, "your technology appears significantly advanced beyond our own. Why choose to reveal yourselves to us rather than continue undetected observation?" The pause before the next response was longer. "The time for observation alone has passed. Recent developments in your expansion patterns indicate potential contact with other spacefaring entities soon. We believe direct diplomatic relations would be mutually beneficial before such encounters occur." Vazik and Zirax exchanged glances. The humans knew about the Empire's planned expansion into the regions beyond the Maltera Nebula, an operation so classified that only the highest levels of Imperial command were aware of it. "They know our strategic plans," Vazik said quietly. "This changes everything." Before further discussion could occur, the human transmission continued. "To demonstrate our peaceful intentions and facilitate more effective communication, we propose a direct meeting. With your permission, we would like to send a representative to your vessel." The command deck erupted into chatter, which Vazik silenced with a sharp gesture. "This could be an opportunity or a trap," Zirax cautioned. "Indeed," Vazik agreed, "but refusing could provoke entities whose capabilities we cannot match." He turned to Lazix. "Inform them one representative may board. Maximum security protocols." The docking procedure itself defied Vosh understanding. Rather than using conventional docking methods, the human ship simply extended what appeared to be a transparent tube that somehow maintained atmospheric integrity without visible support structures. Through this tube walked a single figure. The human representative was escorted to the command deck's diplomatic chamber by a squad of elite Vosh guards. When the doors slid open, both Zirax and Vazik found themselves unable to hide their surprise. The human was smaller than expected, perhaps 2/3 the height of an adult Vosh. Its body was covered not in protective exoskeleton, but in what appeared to be soft tissue and artificial coverings. It walked upright on 2 limbs instead of the Vosh's 4, with 2 additional limbs extending from its upper body. Most striking was its face, a flat surface with sensory organs clustered together rather than positioned strategically around its head. "Greetings," the human said, its voice translated through the communication systems. "I am Ambassador Elena Chen of the United Earth Federation. Thank you for allowing this meeting." Vazik stepped forward. "I am Supreme Admiral Vazik of the Imperial Vosh Fleet. This is Commander Zirax, who first encountered your vessels." The human made a slight bowing motion. "Commander Zirax, your restraint during our initial contact speaks well of your judgment. Many species respond with immediate aggression when faced with the unknown." Zirax's antennae twitched in acknowledgement of the compliment, but he remained silent. "Your vessels demonstrate technology far beyond our understanding. Vazik stated bluntly, "You must realize this poses a significant concern for Imperial security." Ambassador Chen nodded. "We understand your caution. Humanity has faced similar situations in our history. Perhaps I can alleviate some concerns by explaining our presence here." The ambassador proceeded to tell a story that defied all Vosh assumptions about technological development. According to Chen, humans had evolved on a single planet, achieving spaceflight only a few centuries earlier. Their rapid advancement was attributed to a combination of intense curiosity, competitive innovation, and what the ambassador called thinking outside established paradigms. "Your species developed fold space technology independently?" asked Science Officer Lizix, unable to contain her professional interest. "Without precursor species guidance." "We did," Chen confirmed. "Our understanding of physics took a different path than many civilizations. Where others built upon consistent advancement of conventional drive systems, we focused on fundamental restructuring of space itself." "And these other civilizations you mention?" Vazik inquired sharply. "How many spacefaring species are known to you?" Chen hesitated before responding. "The galaxy is more populated than you might realize, Supreme Admiral. There are approximately 37 species with interstellar capabilities within this galactic quadrant alone." The revelation sent ripples of shock through the Vosh present. Their empire had encountered only 12 other intelligent species in their entire history, all technologically inferior. "You claim to come in peace," Zirax spoke for the first time. "Yet you possess technology that could easily overwhelm our defenses. Why should we trust your intentions?" Chen turned to face him directly. "A valid concern, Commander. If conquest were our goal, this conversation would be unnecessary. Humanity has learned through painful experience that military dominance is the least stable form of relationship between species. We seek understanding and cooperation because diversity of thought drives innovation and survival." The discussion continued for hours, covering everything from governmental structures to cultural practices. Throughout it all, Zirax observed the human carefully. There was something almost Vosh-like in her methodical responses and careful diplomacy, yet fundamentally alien in her conceptual framework. The meeting was interrupted by an urgent communication. "Supreme Admiral," the tactical officer reported, "we're detecting multiple unidentified vessels entering the system. They do not match human configurations." Ambassador Chen's expression changed instantly. "May I see the sensor data?" After a moment's hesitation, Vazik nodded, and the tactical display was projected. Chen's reaction was immediate. "Those are Nexari vessels, hostile scavengers who target developing civilizations for technology and resources." "You know these beings?" Vazik demanded. "We've had encounters," Chen confirmed grimly. "They typically avoid human space after several decisive defeats, but they're opportunistic predators who may see this diplomatic meeting as a chance to strike while we're distracted." As if confirming her assessment, the Nexari vessels began to deploy in attack formation, 12 ships of varying sizes, all bristling with visible weapon systems. "Imperial fleet, battle stations," Vazik ordered. "Full defensive deployment." "Supreme Admiral," Chen interjected, "the Nexari possess phase-shift weaponry capable of bypassing conventional shields. Your vessels are vulnerable." Vazik's mandibles clicked in agitation. "And I suppose humans are immune to this technology." "Not immune," Chen replied, "but our defensive systems are specifically designed to counter it. With your permission, our vessels can provide protective coverage for your fleet while you target their propulsion systems." It was a moment of truth. Accept help from this unknown species or face a potential threat alone. "You would defend us?" Zirax asked, mandibles clicking in surprise. Ambassador Chen nodded. "Of course. Peaceful intentions include defense against common threats." Vazik made his decision quickly. "Coordinate with our tactical officers. Let's see if humans fight as impressively as they travel." What followed was unlike any battle in Vosh military history. The human vessels moved with the same impossible speed and precision they had demonstrated earlier, but now with purpose. They positioned themselves in seemingly vulnerable positions, drawing necessary fire away from the Vosh ships, while projecting invisible fields that somehow neutralized the enemy weapons. The Vosh fleet, freed from defensive concerns, concentrated overwhelming firepower on the Nexari propulsion systems, disabled the hostile vessels methodically. Within 30 minutes, the entire Nexari force was drifting, powerless. In the aftermath, as the Vosh secured the disabled enemy vessels, Ambassador Chen approached Commander Zirax privately. "Commander, I sense you have questions that propriety prevents you from asking in official settings." Zirax's antennae twitched forward. "You are perceptive, Ambassador. Yes, I wonder why a species with your capabilities would bother with diplomatic relations at all. You could take what you want from this region of space." Chen smiled, a gesture Zirax was beginning to recognize as friendly rather than threatening. That approach leads only to endless conflict. Humanity learned this lesson through our own bloody history. She continued, her voice taking on a more personal tone. "There's something I didn't mention in the official meeting. Our scientists believe the Vosh brain structure has remarkable similarities to human neural networks. You think in patterns surprisingly compatible with our own. Among all the species we've encountered, yours may be the most like us in cognitive approach, despite our biological differences." Zirax considered this. "You seek intellectual companions." "In a sense," Chen nodded. "The universe is vast and largely unknown. Exploration is more effective when multiple perspectives examine the same mysteries. Alone, each species has blind spots. Together, we see more clearly." As the human returned to her ship and the Vosh fleet began processing the implications of all they had witnessed, Commander Zirax found himself contemplating a fundamental shift in the Empire's understanding of their place in the cosmos. The Vosh had always seen themselves as the pinnacle of evolution, destined to rule through superior biology and determination. Now they faced beings who had taken an entirely different evolutionary path, yet achieved far more. Perhaps most unsettling was the realization that humans seemed genuinely uninterested in conquest. They had the means but lacked the motive, preferring dialogue to dominance. It challenged everything the Empire had built its identity upon. As Zirax watched the human ships prepare to depart, their mission of initial contact complete and formal diplomatic relations established, he understood that the universe had suddenly become much larger and more complex than the Vosh had ever imagined. The age of unquestioned Vosh supremacy was over. The age of discovery had just begun. And somewhere among the stars, humanity waited, not as conquerors or subjects, but as something the Empire had never truly encountered before: equals.